How's it going, guys? So today I'm doing a comparison between the Fortel and the Fortel. Recently in a BATTLBOX we got a Lord & Field version. This is a production version of the Atroposknife Fortel Fisherman. Alright, so full custom made in Russia, and this one is the production version made by Lord & Field, not specified where it's made. So throughout the video, I'm going to be comparing these two and taking them apart. All right, I'm going to keep the original Russian-made custom on the right. This has a yellow spacer material, okay? And on the left, I'll keep the Lord & Field version, which has an orange spacer material. All right, so visually, you can see that they're different. Now, Lord & Field has exclusive rights to this design, so obviously they worked something out with Atroposknife in Russia to be able to offer this in America because this was expensive and very limited. A lot of people had interest in it, but they sold out immediately. You know, it takes a while to make these, so they did a production version, which is pretty cool. Now, as far as price, the custom version is more expensive than the production version, as we would hope and expect. All right, the original one made in Russia was $235. They're still available. You can still order them when they're in stock, but they usually sell out. There's also a smaller version, which is cheaper, but talking about the Fisherman version of this knife, $235 is what they sell for, okay? And obviously the weight to get them shipped from Russia, all right? As opposed to the Lord & Field version, which is $130, all right? So this production version is a little over $100 cheaper than the custom. Now, there's definitely things about this production version that I like more than the original. I will tell you that the fit and finish is a little bit better on the custom, which you would hope so. But this one's very close. It's not too far off. And there's actually some different changes on the production version, which I like more than the original. All right, so before I even get into details, I would say this is definitely worth checking out. If you wanted to try this knife, but you want to get it cheaper, you might prefer some of the features that this one has that this one does not. So looking at the outside of them, all right, you can see that they're both micarta. Now, originally in my video, I said it looked like a wood core. This is solid micarta, okay? Just mentioned Russian micarta, all right? But I thought it was a laminate on top of wood, and apparently it's solid micarta. All right, it's a deeper, richer color. There's not as much grain to it. Okay, you can see. As compared to, again, on the left, this production version looks a little rougher, a little bit more raw, and definitely a lighter color. So the actual color is a lighter, you know, reddish brown. And then again, as mentioned, the spacer material is yellow on the original and orange on the production. All right, while we're in close here, we can look at the knurling. The knurling is almost the same. It's not any more grippy on either one. I mean, the pattern, if you compare them directly next to each other, they look about the same, and they feel about the same as well. The big difference is in this rotary lock. Now, on the custom one, you see there's a channel cut down and then over, just like this one. But on the custom, it's angled. It's on a downward angle here, whereas this is almost perfectly sideways. Now, when opening these, okay, or unlocking it, okay, it's very nice and smooth to unlock. When I'm locking it, you can see because of the downward angle, it's kind of pressure fit. So when I turn this, there's no distinctive end. It's just when it becomes hard to turn, it's locked. All right, it's not going to easily come unlocked. Whereas the production version actually snaps. So when I go to lock it, there's a very distinctive audible, and you can feel it click. Okay, which I really like. So already the production version I feel is like a slightly better design than the original. I like hearing and feeling that click so I know it's secure. All right, and again, it's not going to come apart. So unlocking both of these, all right, and pulling them apart. The custom one has a little bit more of a snug fit, all right? So when this is together, as you're closing it, right here there's a little bit of resistance, and as I push forward, just a little bit more resistance, all right? So it's pretty snug in there. Now on the production version, unlock it, all right, and it comes apart effortlessly. There's no pressure at all here. All right, you can see I have just two fingers on either side. Compared to the original here, I take the same thing, two fingers. Once I push it together, it's already pressure fit into the other side, so it's kind of harder to pull apart. So the production version here is easier to get in and out. This definitely has tighter tolerances. Some people might like that, some people might not. Quite honestly, I'd prefer it just to be easier to get in and out. You know, as long as it's not going to fall apart or anything, which neither one would. They're both well made. I definitely prefer this one. So far, I like the click on the lock, and I like that it just slips out easy. It's not kind of pressure fit together. But definitely the original is taking the cake on just the fit and finish. So again, just kind of revisiting the outside here, you can see this has more of a polished cap as opposed to this kind of stainless flat finish. Now here's where things get pretty interesting, okay? As far as the forks, they're pretty much identical. I can't really tell much difference between either one. They both work obviously the same. Because this is called the Fisherman, these are suggested to be used to hold the fish while you're filleting it with the knife, or just to use it as kind of a rustic camp fork. All right, you can see the spacing between the fork prongs is a little bit tighter on this one, on the custom. All right, but I don't think that really matters much. Also, if you didn't already see it, the actual width on the custom is just a hair thinner, okay, than the production. The production is just a tiny, tiny bit bigger, I would say, or wider. You guys can see that the custom one is completely sterile. There's no markings on this knife anywhere. It doesn't say Atroposknife, doesn't say Fisherman, Fortel, nothing. All right, this one is marked Lord & Field, all right, and then there's nothing on the back. The biggest difference is, if you guys don't already see it, is that the production version is flat ground, which I actually prefer over the original. All right, but if I line these up exactly together, the custom one, which is still on the right, is just a touch longer. I mean, not even a 1/16 of an inch probably, but it is just a tiny bit longer. All right, but overall has a very similar blade profile. Now this is another big change that I didn't notice right away, but I actually like much more on the production version. So we come down here to extend the blade out. All right, there's a locking collar on the bottom, so you're gonna rotate that. And on the production version, it's a little bit stiffer, at least in this case, than the original. The original is just a little bit easier to turn. All right, so once we unlock these to extend the blade, notice we're looking at the spine of the blade here. So on the production version, the spine of the blade is what comes out, as opposed to on the custom version, the sharp edge is what comes out of that channel. All right, so obviously from a safety standpoint, it's a little bit safer in my opinion, and preferred to grab the spine of the blade to pull it out, as opposed to having to kind of, do one of these and reach behind, or to have that edge facing your hand to get that out. Now this wasn't an issue because I didn't know anything different. But now seeing that they literally put the blade in backwards on this design, it might have been purposeful, because I really do prefer that. I prefer grabbing the spine to extend that blade, all right, as opposed to this where I just kind of use the back of the hand there. All right, it just becomes a little bit more awkward. So this is also something to consider when you lock this down, okay? You're locking this now on the front edge of the production version, okay? So all the pressure that's put on your knife blade is always on the edge, right? We cut with the edge, so all the pressure is pushed this way. So that's pushing against the solid part of this, locking ring, as opposed to the original, okay? Because it's backwards, when we lock this, all the pressure is put on the edge, and it's pushing closer to where this opening is. So although it's unlikely to rotate, if this rotates and there's pressure put on the blade, it folds. If this unlocks and there's pressure put on the blade, nothing happens because all the pressure is still on the back part of the ring. So in both respects, not only opening it, closing it, but also, from a usability standpoint, I definitely prefer this design with the blade backwards to the original. It's just really interesting. So now, of course, if you wanted to lock this piece in, all right, this is the production version. You can hear the click, which is very nice, very simple. All right, here's the custom version. No click, same thing where it's kind of pressure fit. You're just pushing this over until you can't push anymore. Both are secure and locked, but again, I just really prefer that click. Now here's kind of a downside. You hear that? There's definitely a little bit of play between both these handles on this version, okay? Now, am I going to put these handles together to use it like this? Probably not. However, this is supposed to be part of the feature. So is that a deal breaker for you? I don't really know. I like everything else about it. And again, because I'm not going to do this probably ever, I'm going to be using them independently, either with the long blade or folding it in for the short blade. That's not an issue for me. But if you do, feel like this is something you're going to do, or you want to have this much longer handle, I don't like that. I don't like the little bit of slop that's in there. Okay, and that's all it is. It's just, again, looser tolerances. Now, it's worth mentioning in the original, there's just a hair of play between the handles when they're connected like this, but nowhere near as much as, I mean, you could literally hear this one. Okay, and you could feel it kind of, you know, wobbling back and forth. This one is very, very minor. All right, if I was doing food prep and I had a larger piece of meat, that's when I would use the extended blade. All right, and then obviously, just for regular purposes, I would close the handle here and lock that, and I would mostly just use it like this, okay? Shorter blade with the little fork. Again, whether I'm filleting a fish, which probably won't use this for filleting a fish because it's not, you know, thin and flexible enough for my liking, but I would definitely use this as a camp fork and knife set, okay? So that's most of the usages like this, but let's say I'm preparing like a big old steak or something and it's not enough blade, it's nice to be able to, you know, extend that out so that I have more available to me. All right, so that's how I would actually use this knife. So even though they look like the same knife, as you can see, there are plenty of differences between them. It's kind of a toss-up for me because this is, you know, $100 more. What are you getting for that extra $100? You're getting tighter tolerances, which is nice. Again, I mean, closed here, there's nothing. Closed on this one, that little bit of play. And then even more once it's open and connected. The positive, I love that the blade's reversed on here. I really wish it was different. I wish that the production version was how it is on the original, because I definitely like the way that blade opens a lot better. I think it's a stronger design. I think it's safer. You know, but everything else I like about this one. So it is a toss-up. I mean, again, this is $100 cheaper, $105 cheaper. And it's going to get to you a lot faster here in the States than having to get something directly from Russia. Even in the closed position, you can see that extra blade, the spine is up against this opening crack as opposed to the edge, which creates a little bit of a channel. I guess you can get dirt and dust and stuff in there. Now, something I didn't mention before were blade steels. Now, neither one of these are marked with the blade steel. However, I know that the original custom was in D2. Now, this one, the Lord & Field version, is in stainless steel. They don't specify what stainless steel. It doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It just means it's not special enough to stand out. When you have a premium steel, S30V, M4, you know, whatever it may be, people put those stamps on the blade because they're proud of it. It's a selling point. You know, when you just say it's stainless steel, to me, my assumption automatically is a 400 series stainless, which is okay, it's fine, but it's nothing special. You know, that's why it's not being mentioned. So although I can't verify exactly what steel is on this, and also I didn't use this one, I did use this one a little bit. I didn't use this, so I really have no reference as to what it may be. Being stainless steel over D2, which is a tool steel, that might be another, you know, consideration for you if you happen to live on the coast with that, you know, saltwater air, or if you live in a very humid environment or something, the stainless steel on the production version would be a little bit better for rust resistance than the D2. I don't have problems with D2 just because of where I live, but I know plenty of people who do. There's definitely pros and cons to both models. If you made me choose one, I would go with the original just because of the D2 and the tighter tolerances. The fit and finish is just a little bit better. That little bit of slop bothers me just enough to not care about the much, much better blade orientation on this one. But again, it's just give or take. It really comes down to preference. I think they're both awesome. You know, the original is just cool to me because it was made in Russia. It's such a unique design and custom made, you know, by the maker. But this, you save a lot of money. And again, that blade orientation is just a better idea. Anyway, you guys let me know down in the comment section what you think. If you were interested in this knife, which one would you prefer and why? Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out my video. And I'll see you guys tomorrow with a brand new video. Take care.